She fought a dog for scraps and got wounded until a human bandaged her and gave her food. The market's trash heap smelled of rotting vegetables, stale bread, and desperation. She crouched low, her thin fingers darting toward a half-chewed crust of bread tossed aside by a vendor. But before she could grab it, a stray dog lunged, growling, teeth bared. She didn't back down. Hunger had burned away her fear long ago. The dog snapped, and she clawed at the ground, pulling the crust closer. The animal bit her forearm, tearing skin. Pain seared hot, but she yanked the bread free, stumbling back, shoving it into her mouth before she could think. The dog barked, pacing, but left her when she didn't fight for more. Blood dripped from her arm as she chewed the dry crust, tears mixing with crumbs. She was just a girl, an alien girl, though her kind once walked proudly among the markets. Now they were beggars, shunned after their world lost the war. She was dirty, bruised, with sharp ridges on her cheeks that marked her species. People looked away when they saw her. She had become invisible, but one pair of eyes didn't turn away. From his cart at the edge of the square, a human merchant had seen everything. He wasn't rich, not like the big traders who wore silk coats and sold off-world spices. His stall carried simple goods, tools, cloth, a basket of dried fruits. Yet he paused in his selling, gaze fixed on the girl, clutching her bleeding arm. She tried to stand and failed, wobbling before dropping to her knees. Her vision swam. Blood pooled dark against her pale skin. The human sighed, pushing aside his wares. His customers frowned. A few muttered that it wasn't his problem, but he ignored them. Crossing the square, he knelt by the girl. "Hey," he said gently, his voice soft but firm. "You're hurt." She flinched, expecting him to scold her, maybe shove her away. Her people weren't welcome here. Instead, he pulled a cloth from his bag and wrapped it carefully around her arm. His hands were steady, warm, and patient. She stared at him, wide-eyed. "Why?" she whispered. Her voice cracked from thirst. "Because you're bleeding," he said simply, as if it were the only answer needed. She didn't understand. No one helped her kind. She had learned that lesson when soldiers burned her home and people turned away from her mother's cries. But the human didn't stop. He tied the cloth tight, stopping the blood. Then he reached into his pack again, pulling out a small parcel of bread and dried fruit. He pressed it into her hands. Her fingers trembled. "For me?" He nodded. "Eat." Slowly. The smell made her dizzy. She tore a piece of bread, chewing carefully this time, savoring it. The dried fruit was sweet, almost too rich, but she ate as though afraid it might vanish. The human sat with her until her breathing steadied. People in the market gave him strange looks, some disgusted, some pitying. He ignored them all. When she finished, she licked her fingers, unwilling to waste even crumbs. Then she looked at him, searching his face for a trick, for cruelty hidden behind kindness. "What do you want?" she asked. Everyone wanted something. He shook his head. "Nothing. No one ever meant that." Her chest tightened. "Then why?" He hesitated, glancing at the dog still prowling nearby. "Because I've seen hunger before. No one deserves to fight a beast for scraps." His words landed heavy in her heart. She wanted to believe him, but belief was dangerous. Still, when he stood and offered his hand, she found herself reaching up. "Come on," he said. "Let's get that wound cleaned properly." He led her to a stall, guiding her behind a cart where the crowd couldn't stare as much. There, he poured clean water over her arm, wincing at the sight of the gash. She bit her lip, refusing to cry out. He dabbed salve, then rewrapped it with fresh cloth from his stock. "You'll heal," he said, tightening the knot. She looked away. "You shouldn't waste on me." "It's not a waste," he said firmly. His words made something ache inside her chest, something she hadn't felt since before the war, before she lost her parents, before the camps, before the streets. Over the next days, she lingered near his stall. At first, she hid in shadows, watching. Each time, he left a scrap of food where she could see it. Not petty leftovers. Fresh bread, an apple, sometimes roasted beans. When he noticed her hovering, he pretended not to, letting her decide whether to approach. Slowly, she grew braver. She sat near him, quiet, sometimes helping chase away pests or carry a basket. He never asked, but she wanted to repay him somehow. One evening, as the market emptied, he handed her a small blanket. "Nights are cold," he said. She clutched it tightly. No one had given her anything soft in years. "Why do you keep helping me?" she asked again. He looked thoughtful. "Because someone helped me once. When I was a boy, I was hungry too. Not as bad as you, but bad enough. A stranger gave me food and a chance. I never forgot." His honesty left her silent. She didn't know how to answer. Days turned into weeks. Her wound healed, leaving a scar. She stopped fighting dogs for scraps because she no longer had to. The human, his name was Callan, treated her not as a burden, but as a person. One night, when rain poured heavy and the alleys flooded, he found her shivering beneath a broken awning. Without hesitation, he brought her into his small home. It wasn't grand. Just one room above the market with stove, a cot, and shelves stacked with goods. But to her, it was a palace. "Stay here tonight," he said. She slept curled in the blanket he'd given her, warmth soaking into her bones. For the first time in years, she wasn't afraid she would die in her sleep. Living with him wasn't easy at first. She was suspicious, always waiting for the moment he would demand something. Labor, obedience, payment. But he never did. He only asked that she wash when she could, eat properly, and rest. Slowly, she began helping. She swept the floor, carried supplies, learned to weigh fruit and measure cloth. Customers frowned at first, seeing an alien girl at his side, but Callan stood by her. "She works with me," he would say calmly. "If you have a problem, take your coin elsewhere." Some left. Many stayed. Her hands grew steadier, her back straighter. She began to smile, small, cautious at first, then brighter. One night, by the stove's glow, she whispered, "I don't even know who I am anymore. I lost everything." Callan looked at her seriously. "You're still you, and you're alive. That's enough to start again." She held his gaze, realizing he meant it. For the first time, she believed maybe she had a future. The scar on her arm never faded, a reminder of the day she fought a dog for scraps. But now, when she looked at it, she didn't only see pain. She saw the moment her life changed, when a human had bandaged her and given her food without asking anything in return. That moment had saved her, and in time, she knew, it had given her something even greater than survival.